So this is Holly. She's our little disabled bee that we found. She's only got one wing. She's a bit crooked and she's missing a leg and she's very, very small. So we think that maybe she was a bit premature. So we found her and we rescued her and we tried to put her in her proper nest a few times, but she kept crawling out and then she couldn't hold on and she was falling, and then we would find her on the lawn and on the stones in the garden crawling around, and I think she was destined for a sad demise. So after a few times of trying to get her in the nest, we decided the best thing for her to do would be to keep her in a safe environment. So we've created an environment for her in this ice cream tub. Perhaps it's not the world's greatest environment for a bee, but it's safe for her. We can keep it warm, and because she can't fly, she just needs somewhere where she can rest safely and wander around. She seems to quite like exploring in here. We've put some flowers in. You can see there's some paper to give her a surface to walk on and be able to grip. And we've put some moss. And she really seems to like the moss. She tugs on the moss, and she actually has a favourite little space over at this back corner down there where she goes and sleeps and hides and digs underneath the moss a little bit. And she always goes back to that same place, and she's kind of created that little space for herself. So her own natural instincts have been to create a small little cavity for her to rest and sleep in. As well as the flowers and things that we've put in there, we're also giving her some pollen in the corner. She's not interested in that actually. She's really not interested. Although the larvae of the bee eat pollen, which is protein, to grow, she doesn't really seem that interested in it now that she's at this stage. So although she has an instinct to collect pollen when she's out in the fields and bring it back to the hive, she's not trying to do that here, and I guess perhaps she thinks this is the hive and the pollen's already here. She seems to be having great fun at the moment crawling underneath this piece of paper. Don't quite know what's going on there, whether she's trying to get out and explore underneath. That's an interesting point, because she, to begin with, I guess she did feel trapped. She was in this strange environment, and she was running around trying to find the edges and escape. And I'll admit that we felt kind of guilty about it, and we weren't sure if it was the right thing to do to get her stressed over really being captive. But actually she's really calmed down. She's really got used to it. She doesn't seem stressed by it. She's not trying to escape as such. She responds to changes. If we move the box and if there's light coming into the box and that kind of thing, she responds to that. But certainly she's a lot more placid. And the good thing is she's way stronger. She's really grown in strength. When we first put her in this box, she, bearing in mind she's only got 5 legs and they're not all lined up properly because of her twisted back, she was falling over the whole time. She was spending most of the time trying to get herself off her back and expending a lot of energy. So by feeding her with honey water, because that's the other thing that I was going to show you actually, which is in the box, I'll come to that in a minute. By feeding her with the honey water, she's really grown in strength. She can walk around now, she can cling on to the moss and hang on easily. If she does fall over, which is very rare now, we very rarely see her do that, she can right herself quite easily, and she can really move around at quite some speed. So she's definitely come on in terms of strength. So as I say, we've been feeding her honey water and sugar water a mixture of that. Quantity is about 30% either sugar or honey, and introducing that to the box. So in some instances we've put little droplets, for example on the flower, I think you can see some there. We've actually got a syringe in here because she can go to the end of the syringe, and we've seen her do this, and where the sort of blob or the bulb, the meniscus of the sugar water is on the end of that syringe, she's able just to stick her tongue into that and to take a drink. And there are times when we've seen her really drinking lots. And we also put a little bit, you can see it on the floor of the box as well, not so much that she can get stuck in it or get bogged down in it or drown in it, but it makes it very easy for her to just stick her tongue in and pick some of that out. Now the other little thing that we've got coming, we've tried one version of this and I've built another version, is to use these little holders here, and this is actually, believe it or not, it's off a dental flosser, an electric dental flosser, but that's really a tiny little plastic cup. I should poke a pen in there to give you an idea of scale. Here's a bit of a pen. Okay, and to give you an idea of scale of Holly herself, let's move the pen down. Okay, she's really quite small. What I've done is I've taken some of these green plastic elements and I've mounted them upright, three of them, in some sealant, just sealant that we use around the shower and in the bathroom for fixing leaks, and I've made it into a little mound with these in, and basically that gives us three kind of artificial flowers to actually put some sugar water in, and she can climb up on that. Now she really seemed to like the first version of that. The problem was it leaked slightly and it just had the one flower, but she liked climbing up and down the mound. It gave her something to explore, and I don't know, you almost half think that she's getting a bit of exercise and deliberately trying to get a bit of exercise, the way that you'd see her go up and down and over it, not even to drink, just literally to walk up and down over it and to explore. It's really quite fascinating to see. So yeah, so based on that, I thought, well, let's see if we can improve the design and give us something which doesn't leak and has three little pots of honey water that she can get some drink from, and she can get it in her own time, and we don't have to interfere so much with the box by having to put this syringe in and out, because that's the one thing which you know, is a bit of a disruption to us when we have to put this syringe in and out, rather than just fill some little cups from above. So there we go, that's little Holly. She's doing really well, and she's great company. I've got her here in my office with me whilst I work, and we've got her indoors at the moment because it's been cold and raining outside. Normally we would put her outside if it's warm enough on top of the bee box that we've got in this box, so that, you know, in a sense she's got the company of her fellow bees with her and she's outdoors and getting the fresh air. But at the moment the weather's not suitable for that, and we mustn't let her get too cold. We need to keep her warm. They normally operate, certainly when flying, at about 30 degrees. So, you know, when it's 10, 12, 13 degrees outside, that's a little bit cold for her, especially at her size, and, you know, the amount of food she's taking on board, the fact she's not in a huddle of other bees that are all keeping each other warm. We have to take care of her temperature, and so that's what we're doing at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed meeting Holly, and I'm sure we'll be giving you further updates in future as she progresses. Bye for now.